Parshas Chayye, an incredible lesson we learn from this parsha. When the Torah describes the years of Sarah Imenu, the Torah says she lived 127 years. It doesn't just say it straight. It says she lived 100 year and 20 year and 7 years. The Torah uses the plural word only in relation to the 7 years, not to the 100 and not to the 20. That's very strange. If you have to choose between 3 different groups of years and you have to pick one of them as the plural, wouldn't you choose the 100 year? Say 100 years. It's the biggest number. That's the one to make plural. 20 is also a plural. But 7, even though it's plural, it's the least of the 3. So why in the world does the Torah make the 7, the smallest number, the plural one? Why does it say 7 years? So I think we could say something incredible. In the world that we live in the physical world, not the spiritual world, the effort that you put in and the size of the thing that you produce usually gets the most attention. You do something very small, it doesn't get so much attention. We tend to think that something that looks small, that something that doesn't take a lot of time, something that doesn't take a lot of effort is not so significant. And that may be true in the physical world in a lot of ways, but in the spiritual world, it's a completely different story. To Hashem, it could be that the small things that we do very often are more significant than the big things that we did. What we think is big might actually be small, and what we think is small might actually be big. And that's exactly what the Torah is teaching us. In saying that the 100 years is called 100 year, a singular, and the 20 years are called 20 year, singular, but the 7, which is the smallest number of years, is called years, it could be that the Torah is teaching us that the 7 years of Sarah Imenu's life were actually greater in spiritual quantity, were greater in a spiritual level to Hashem than the 120 years that came before. And that makes sense because if there's 7 years at the end of her life, which they were, it could be at the end she was already at a very high level and she was living at a completely different spiritual plane than she did in the first 120. So what do we take away from this? We're very busy in life. You're going to school, you're working, you're taking care of your family, you're doing all kinds of things. You don't necessarily have the same time that you had when you were in yeshiva or in seminary to work on the spiritual things you'd like to work on. But the truth is, to Hashem's eyes, sometimes one small thing that we do is tremendously valuable. Everyone should have a wonderful Shabbos. It's great to be in touch again. All the best.